What's up, Drum Kingdom? Today, we will be doing a puzzle. Editor, put the puzzle in the frame.
Three gods riddle. Imagine three gods are sitting in front of you. The names are true, false, and random. True always tells the truth. False always lies. Random answers completely randomly. You do not know which god is which. You can ask three yes or no questions, one question to one god at a time. But here's the extra problem. The gods understand English, but only answer in their own language. The words for yes and no are da and ja. You do not know which word means which. Three questions, unknown identities, unknown language. Figure out which god is which. This puzzle is called the hardest logic puzzle ever.
Alright, so the puzzle is one, there's three gods. There's a liar, meant to know as L, and someone that tells the truth, T, and there's someone that says random stuff. Random. So, saw this scrolling on Instagram, and I solved it. They said, it's hard, it's lucky, easy, watch out. So, we know that we don't know what yes and no is in their language, but they always answer yes and no. This one always lie, tell the truth, and say something random. Because it is random, we kind of gotta ignore what it says, but yeah, find out who the random is. So let's denote this and this. That's the two possible yes and no answers that we can get from each of them. Whether this is yes or this is no, yes or no, it doesn't really matter. It's just that we're getting a different output from each of them. Alright, so it says we can ask each three of them one by one, one question at a time, up to three questions each. So this is how you can find out which is which. So what I thought is, why don't you ask their identities? So here's the thing, when you think about it. If you ask the liar if he's the one that tells the truth, he will say yes. Why? For truth. And then if you ask him, he'll say yes. And this guy will say yes or no. We don't know, but it's either or. We tell this guy if he's the liar, he'll say no. This guy will say no. And he'll say yes or no. Say he's random, he'll say yes. He'll say no. And he'll say yes or no. Right here proves a lot. Notice, so ignore the random because it could be yes, yes, yes for all of them. No, yes, yes, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. Like it's a random combination that really doesn't matter for now. So let's focus on these two for now. So we notice that it's right here. We'll write true, liar, random on here, right? Kind of make a table. So the liar, look at this. This two is where they say the same thing, and these two are where they don't say the same thing, right? So what I'm trying to get at is what you must ask is if either of them are a random god. And what you'll get is that only one person has a 100% chance of saying they are the liar, I mean the random. 100% chance they'll say no to being a liar, and 100% chance true that they'll say they're the truth god. So you see how we must ask this question in order to discern which is which. Second, I mean you could ask either or for truth or liar to each of these, but you should most likely question liar because this is where random comes in. Right, so say random said yes to this. Is it true? You get yes, yes, yes. Doesn't tell you anything. The random to the liar says no, no, yes. That's weird. Why would you say yes if you're the liar? The liar will never say he's a liar because he's lying. The truth will never say he's a liar because he's the truth. So that means the only person that will say yes to being the liar is the random god. So that automatically makes this part, if random says yes to this question, then you already know that he's the random. That's why you should never, to not waste questions, don't ask if any of them are the truth, because the chance that they say yes, yes, yes will just be bad. And if they say no, that also makes sense, but like, I don't know, just ask if they're a liar, bro. Like, if they said no here, that they're not the liar, I mean, they can have N and N, which probably gets you nowhere, but then coupled with this one, you'll automatically find that the liar, so if you pair it with truth and random, you get Y, and what happens when you get liar N and N, there was nothing to be found here. But if you asked L and R, you have the possibility of N and N, which doesn't make sense, because at least one of them's a liar. And then you have the random, yes, 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 no, and they'll say some random Y and N. I don't know what I'm saying, bro. But just ask if they're liar or random, because, yeah, I don't know anymore. And then we figure out based on just these two, because if you ask if they're true, the one that says yes, yes will be a liar, or no, yes, in this case. But then you'll, like, you know what I'm saying? If you get Y, kind of like, it's kind of yappy. You say YN to NN. Oh shit, that's kind of tough. Okay, so I've been yapping, but so yeah, if you ask these two questions, just these two, you'll instantly find out who's the liar, just based off this response. Now it's between the truth and the random. So this depends. Okay, so if he says yes, then obviously you know who the random is. But if they both say no to this question, and then if they both say no to this question instead of yes, because if they said yes to this, obviously saying yes to being the random is obviously out. Actually, no, my bad. If you say yes or no, it makes it hard, because you won't know whether or not this guy, this yes, will be the liar, just like R is. If he said no, you don't know if he's the truth teller. That all depends if, obviously, he doesn't pick yes for the first question or no for this question, you know what I'm saying? So if he gives you the no treatment, like the truth, or he tells you no Y, no yes, like this, and now you're stuck, okay? How would I do is, we have one more question. Let's say we ignore this question. We have one more question to ask LT and our gods, okay? So what you want to do is, since you already know at least one, which is the liar, what you want to do is ask this guy if any of these gods is the random god. You say, is this a random god? And he will say no, or yes, he is. And if you point at this one, he'll say no. So that's how you know which one it is. Because if he said yes, since he's lying, since he said yes to this being a random god, he must be the truth god. And he said no, he must be. Yeah. That's how you find all of them. But then, what if he did the same combination as liar, where he went no, yes? So the only person you know is the truth teller, which is no, no. Well, that's just easy. Just ask any one of them, is that the random or is this the random? And he'll answer truthfully, and you get your answer. And there you go. That's how you do it. That's D-Funk gang. That's D-Funk. I forgot to mention about not knowing the yes and no. I was going to tell this later because I put the yes and no to show the logic on it, but if you're going to add the language barrier, it gets a lot more complicated. But I'll prove to you that this method still works. So, let's draw the table again. Low tier god. Tier low god. Alright. So this guy will say he is the truth teller, he is the random, but he's not the liar. He will say he is the truth teller, but he's not either of these, and he'll say, oops, oh my god, I have to draw this again. Hold on. So let's assign symbols, right? So when the liar asks if he's the truth, he'll say something. He'll say a thing you don't know, but you'll note that down. That he said something. And then when you ask the truth teller, he'll say something else from the liar when asked this question about if he's the true god. And then the random will say either or, which is fine. Because I mean, you're being told, you get inputs. If you're gonna get, like, the random will confuse you, and but like, you just gotta figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And then this is where it gets interesting. When he's asked this right here, it turns like this, but the random god is still like that. So what I'm trying to say is, when looking at this table, you don't really understand it, but this is how you figure out the language and then apply this logic to when you found out which one's yes and no. So this is how you know which one's yes and no, or the liar god and yes and no. So look, the liar god, when asked these two questions, will always give the same input. Like beep, boop, and it'll be like beep, boop, right? Actually, what the hell am I writing? No, like that. You'll say beep, boop, and you'll say beep, beep, right? So that means that the person who went beep, boop must either be the low tier god or the random. That, because if the random also says beep, boop, then you already know. And if random says beep, beep, says the same thing twice, and it's different from this one, so like you'll see the same beep, 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 boop, and then when random says something like beep, beep, you're like, that's odd. But you'll know that at least this guy is the liar. But if he said boop, beep, then that means you know this guy's random because he's just saying shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, based off, you know, the fact that the liar will always do beep, boop, that must mean the combination of boop, beep should not work. That means he should be the random. Or he says boop, boop. Wait, boop, boop. Hold on. No. If he just says boop at the first question, then you already know he's out. Yeah. Wait, that actually makes it interesting though. Wait. No, if he does say boop, beep, he's automatically out, because how can you say yes to being the liar? But if he says no to both, and if he says no, yes, then that's just a liar. Yeah, that's so. Just based on the fact that the liar, when asked these two questions, will always give two different answers. The truth teller will give the same two answers, same two noises. And the random, well, it's random, but at least you know that for 100% the liar is the one that did beep boop. And if random did beep boop, then you know that this guy is the truth teller, the one that did beep beep. You know what I'm saying? So if you map it out like that, then that's fine. And with that logic, you can just say that if this guy did beep boop, you know he's a liar. He gets beep beep. That's how you know beep beep is yes. He goes beep beep, yes, yes. This guy's a liar. If he goes beep boop, this guy goes beep boop, and this guy goes beep beep, you know that beep means yes. So, yeah, so boop means no. So that's how you figure out the language, and that's how you figure out the yes or no solution to the problem. Get out of here.